Hello and welcome back to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. So, I have a limited amount of time to record today, so instead of talking to the storyteller like I was planning last time and kind of doing our Dresden run, I think that what we should do is we should go in the Rift, because I want to know what's in the Rift. I don't want to have to wait another day to find out what's in this Rift. So, let's go. Oh, it is bigger. It is much bigger. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Let's go. You feel the bitter cold of the strange haze that surrounds the gate, just as you did in Areelu Vorlesh's laboratory. Through the distortion, you can see the gates of Dresden and hear muffled voices. The distortion is trying to draw you in, but you are ready to resist its pull. So we can will or perception. Will to walk away, perception to just look straight in. Look into the distortion. As you look closer, you can see the tall outline of a figure, possibly an elf, or a human, but there is something strange happening to this figure. It is changing and distorting. Sometimes horns sprout from the figure, and then disappear again, as if it is trying to contain or conceal its true shape. Instinctively, you sense that this creature is dangerous. Possibly an elf? Could this be us? Touch the haze? You try to touch the distortion, but meet resistance, as if your hand is being pushed back by a powerful gust of cold air. For a moment, you feel as if the cold spreading up your arms has frozen your bones, turning them to fragile ice. However, the sensation passes quickly. Alright, I want XP, so I'm going to walk away from the distortion. With effort, you free yourself from the power of the distortion. Nothing can control you. You will decide when you pass through. I like that we're doing it basically just to be like, no, okay, I want to go in there, but you can't make me. I'm going to go in there when I want to go in there. Also, we can use Sela's skill, which is quite useful. I was just double checking it wasn't using our will. I mean, it would have been fine if it had, but I just wanted to double check. Oh, now we can step away as much as we like. Alright. Let's do a quick save. And let's go in. You can't resist the force pulling you into the distortion. It's just blatantly not true. Of course I can. The past and present collide, creating a vortex of energy that consumes you. That sounds bad. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that that is not a good thing when it's like the void is consuming you. Well, let's see. I like the horse noise. Staunton? Hello. Oh, hello. Minago? But either this is like a Minago before they became demon-like, or this is Minago disguised. Where is this simpleton? How long do I have to wait for him? And who the hell is this? Behind the guise of a beautiful woman, you can clearly see Minago's eyeless face. She raises her hand to cast a spell, but a unit of knights come through the gate. To battle, my friends! The gods are with us! Today, we will gain a long-awaited victory for the Crusade! You barely recognize Staunton. There's a cheerful smile on his face, and there is hope in his eyes instead of dark despair. He doesn't notice you. His eyes are locked on Minago. Darling, at last! With this banner, we are invincible. Let's go. The great deeds you will do today will never be forgotten. Every crusader will know your name, and the queen herself will reward you. You see past the illusion. Demons disguised as crusaders sneer mockingly. Will you have enough power to help Staunton see the truth? Wait a second. If you can convince Staunton to believe you, you are sure that you can temporarily give him the sight to see the truth for himself. But wait a second. If Staunton sees the truth, then the banner never leaves Dresden. If the banner never leaves Dresden, then Staunton never turns evil. So then Staunton is never sent to the condemned, and none of that storyline happens. Also, if the banner stays in Dresden, then Dresden was never retaken by the demons. The demons never took Dresden, therefore the Crusade didn't happen because they never came to Canabras, which means that you never went there, which means that when you go back to the future, you're not going to be there because you're somewhere else. That doesn't make any sense at all. But anyway, what were you doing? Diplomacy, intimidate, knowledge arcana, lore religion, or don't worry about me, Staunton, off you go, see you later. Okay, let's see what we got. Can I use my companions? I can. Interesting. We want to convince Staunton. I actually think, can we pass all of these, like, reasonably? Yeah, there's absolutely nothing that means that we wouldn't pass these. I mean, it's 50-50 on some of them, but you know what, there's nothing, like, blocking us necessarily from any of these. So, you must return the banner or there will be trouble. That's straightforward, but it doesn't give them a reason to do it, it's just like a basic convincing. Intimidating Monago is our most, it's an auto success, but again, that doesn't convince Staunton, it just removes Monago. Don't you know how this banner works? The moment you take it from outside Dresden's walls, the city will lose its magical protection and the demons will flock here from across the Worldwound. Very important one. I think that's the best one. Do you think Torag would approve of going on a raid without permission? I think we have to go for Knowledge Arcana. Failed! Oh no. Nonsense. They're afraid of the banner, even when it's just hanging on the wall. Imagine how these beasts will flee when you carry it into battle. Don't listen to her. It's all a lie. She's a demon trying to corrupt you. Looks like it. Staunton glowers at you, catching the holy symbol that hangs around his neck. In the name of Torag, state your purpose. Answer me. Who are you, and why have you come here? Okay. I mean, I really didn't want to fail that one. I'm the one that will have to kill you if you do not stop. Now that is true. I'm your friend and I've come to stop you from making a terrible mistake. Not true. I'm the one who will lead the 5th Crusade. The 2nd Crusade fails because of you. Let's try that. The 5th? But how? You mean we're doomed to fail time and time again, and it's my fault? Shut your lying mouth. Don't you poison him against me. Staunton, light of my life, don't listen to the scum. Let's kill her and keep going. Great deeds await. I don't know who to believe. Staunton lays his hand on the hilt of his weapon. He looks sternly at Monago, then at you, then back at her. I sense deceit. Which one of you is lying to me? Who is my true friend and who is my enemy? Are you really going to believe this scum? Darling, you know I've never lied to you. I love you so much. Interesting. Requires Aeon Mythic path? Surely everything in this area requires that. Or can every single class enter this void? That would seem very odd if everyone could enter the the rift. We could just try and convince her of diplomacy as well. I think we have to say, Staunton Vane, accept the gift of the Aeon and behold the truth with your own eyes. The dwarf's eyes are filled with a radiant light. Just for a moment, but it's enough. He looks at Monago and her entourage, and an exclamation bursts from his lips that is completely inappropriate for a paladin. Another moment passes and his weapon is in his hand. Torag, save me! Staunton makes a sign of blessing. Brothers and sisters! As a trap! These are demons! Kill them! Protect the banner! You hear a low rumble. It is the flow of time changing its course. Slowly and reluctantly, you were able to change the past. Everything was as it should have been. Everything is as it should be. Everything will be as it should. What does that even mean? What does that mean? What are the consequences of my actions? This could be huge. Like, absolutely massive. Every single point in the story up to this point has included Staunton. Like, up until Act 3. What is this even? What? Staunton's alive? Oh, I didn't think they'd do it, but like there were hints they would, but I was like, I was not believing it. Okay, that's cool. Ah, Commander. So it really was you, on this very spot 70 years ago. Battle-hardened and weathered by time, Staunton's hands are covered in scars, and wrinkles line his forehead, but his eyes shine with hope as brightly as they did in his youth. Wait a second. This also means that Staunton's brother should be alive, right? Because Staunton's brother was also killed by us because of this. There's so many things that should have changed now. Although I suppose most times when Staunton was there, Monago was also there. So I guess that's the way they're going to handle it. They're going to say that like everything that Staunton and Monago did, just Monago did. Like somehow she escaped with the banner or something. Like, you know, things happen in the same way, but Staunton was redeemed. Ah, the commander of the 5th Crusade. Back then it sounded like a cruel joke. But time has passed, and here you are, leading a Crusader army. Anyway, in all the confusion, I never got the time to take you aside and say thank you. Not for what you did for Dresden, or the Crusade, but for what you did for me. Wait, what do you mean, why are you only telling me this now? Wait, so us changing the past changes our knowledge of the future? So we don't get to keep the knowledge that we have changed the past? Or are we just talking to him as if we know him? This is very weird. What do you know about me? When the demons attacked Canabras, they were hoping to put an end to the Crusades. They planned on taking the Ward Stone of Canabras and using it to destroy the entire magic barrier around the Worldwound. Their dirty plan would have worked if it wasn't for the hero that stood in their way, you. You reclaimed the Ward Stone and made the demons leave Canabras. Queen Galfrey appointed you the commander of the 5th Crusade. They say Iomade herself guides you in battle, and you perform real miracles in her name. Well, I don't know about the goddess, but I've seen your miracles with my own eyes. You came to the walls of Dresden and lifted the siege. You did what the entire Mendevian army couldn't do for decades. You scared the demons away from the walls. Now, this city is your capital. Your armies are crushing the demons on all fronts. After the liberation of Dresden, Iomede's holy banner, the Sword of Valor, started to change, as if acknowledging your rule over it. Many deemed this to be a good sign. Oh, that's an interesting question. Did we just lose Arushali? What do you know about a succubus named Arushali? A little. I put her in prison, put a lock on the door, and that's the end of it. What else was I supposed to do? A demon came to my gates and started spinning stories about her repentance. Desna's followers defended her, otherwise she'd have ended up on the chopping block. It's not for me to tell you what to do, Commander. If you got her out of prison, I'm sure you had your reasons. Okay, so she's still with us, that's fine. But mark my words, these lion beasts are not to be trusted. I trusted one, and you know how that ended. This one is no better than all the others. She could have been covered in holy symbols from horn to hoof, and I'd still not trust her. What happened that night? We returned the banner to its rightful place. I confessed what I did. I thought I was sure to be stripped of my rank and sent to the condemned, but at least my conscience would be clear. But that's not what happened. I became a hero, can you imagine? Everyone was praising me for how I had defeated Monago in battle. They rewarded me, promoted me. In the end I became the warden of the fortress, but then, well, everything went downhill. The Second Crusade was different from the first. The first time we fought scattered groups of demons from a little crack between the worlds. I just had a huge thought. Are the books about the Crusades different now? Because I'm sure at least one of the books mentions Staunton. So I assume that those books that we have in our trunk are now different because we've changed the past. That's something to check. It might not be, because they might not have thought about that. But I'm sure they did, because if you're going to do time travel, that's the kind of thing that starts getting in your mind. You're like, okay, well then, this will change this, and this will change this, and you can easily spiral out of control. So I'm assuming that they did something like that. Anyway. The second time, the crack had split apart into a gaping hole, and the entire army poured out of it. We were retreating, giving up mile after mile to them. Soon it became clear we didn't have a choice. Not just of a quick victory, but even of saving what was left of Sarkoris. If Iomedae hadn't created a magic barrier around the wound to stop the onslaught of demons, the rest of the world would have followed Sarkoris. In the midst of this nightmare, Dresden stood, an indestructible fortress. But soon it turned into a tiny enclave of crusaders deep within enemy territory. The banner and our bravery kept demons outside the walls, and the Queen's support kept us alive and fed. A counterattack was out of the question. That is, until the day you brought the 5th Crusader army to the city walls and lifted the decades-long siege. Okay. Let me just see. So, in the midst of this nightmare, Dresden stood, an indestructible citadel, but soon it turned into a tiny enclave of crusaders. So Dresden actually never fell. Staunton was in command of Dresden the entire time, or was the warden of Dresden, I assume same thing. So when we came to Dresden, all we did was we broke the siege. Which, good point. That means that Greybor probably wasn't there in the same situation. That also means that Areelu Vorlesh was never in Dresden pretending to be Yaniel. It also means that Yaniel should not be dead, because Yaniel died in the defense of Dresden, which means that Sela should not have Yaniel's sword. You see, now this is the problem with time travel. Every single thing that changes, I'm like, okay, well, because this changed, that'll change, that'll change, that'll change, and that'll change. But it means that we never met Areelu Vorlesh when we were inside Dresden. Like, she was never part of it. When we went up to the top, she wasn't there. That's interesting. Okay. Did a Baelor named Darazand fight in that battle? Was he attacked by a dwarf named Greybor? Darazand, yes, he was among those laying siege to the city. A dwarf named Greybor wounded him severely and forced him to flee. Been a long time since I'd seen such a daring and well-executed attack. Why are you only telling me this now? I wasn't completely sure. I was waiting. That night I felt something inexplicable. It was like the rumble of a mountain beginning to move. A sound you hear before an earthquake, with your bones, not with your ears. For a moment I felt the movement not of rock and earth, but of time itself. Back then I didn't understand what it meant, but now, at this very moment, I have the same feeling. You've just been there, haven't you? 70 years have passed for me since the night you tried to convince a young idiot not to make the worst mistake of his life, but not for you. Staunton's gaze sweeps over you in admiration. My memory's not perfect, but I swear even the wrinkles on your clothes look the same as they did that night. Do you understand what I did? Yes and no. I know the thing that matters. Commander Naminde can work miracles. I spent many sleepless nights thinking about what you did. Was it really possible that you had come from some dreadful future where Dresden had fallen? That you had travelled to the past in order to stop it from happening? If so, what was it like in that world? Did it disappear forever, or does it still exist somewhere? Okay, so we're getting into multiverse theory and theory. I finally realised that it didn't matter. A miracle is a miracle. You performed one for me, and I'm grateful. Yeah, so if we now got a world which no longer has an Inquisitor in it because the Inquisitor left to go to this world, that would be interesting. Or are we in Back to the Future time travel? Which I think we are. I think we're in Back to the Future time travel, where you can go to the past, you make a change, it changes the future. Like, I think we're in that version of time travel. Like, so it's all, like, there's one timeline and it's all connected, rather than it being like each thing that you change causes like a fracture in a timeline, which creates a new timeline, which then you make another change, it makes a new timeline. We're not in that world. We're in there is one timeline. It is the correct timeline. It is the only timeline, at least for the purposes of the game. I believe that there is some multiverse like nonsense going on in Pathfinder, but for our purposes, one timeline. You can make changes to the timeline, but it never creates a new timeline, if that makes sense. At least not yet. Alright, what will you do next? Serve, the dwarf says simply. Serve you in the Crusade. That night, when you let me see the world through your eyes for just a moment, I saw the true nature of these demons, but I also saw how this world is organized and what my place is within it. I will serve here and I will die here. Staunton gives you a salute and walks away. As you follow the dwarf with your eyes, you feel the burden of time weigh heavily on your shoulders. You did what you intended, and yet how little has changed. The course of time has been altered, but only a little. Can anything truly be changed? What if it was as it was, it is what it is, and it will be as it will be? Or is there a way to make everything as it should be, and you just haven't found it yet? I have to check something. Okay, he's not a companion. That's unfortunate. Although maybe I need to go and speak to him. Seela? Seela still holds radiance. I just want to check. It doesn't say anything new there. Let me have a look. Arcane Weaver, Jewelry. Snowy. Captain. Chief Sull? Chief Sull is here? Since when is Chief Sull here? Blacksmith, Woljif, Wilser, Lady Kanomi, Sierra, Horgus, One-Eyed Devil. Okay. Well, I need to go... Is Chief Sull, like, he's here? How long has he been here for? He must have been here a while. I need to go speak to him in a bit. But he's probably been here for, like, a long time. I need to go into my citadel. I got questions. And only the Aeon Mirror can give me the answers. And if you get into time travel, like, it's a problem. Temporal mechanics are, they're a tricky beast. Who we got? Okay, so it's just Rachel and Nevia and Melies, I think it is. Anyway, mirror on the wall. Tell me what's going on. Okay. The journey to the Dresden of the past has given you time to think. Can the Aeon share its wisdom? The Aeon stares back at you. You feel a sense of calm. Dresden has not fallen. It has been holding the line for 70 years waiting for your arrival. But most importantly, the Sword of Valor remains undefiled, and the Great Betrayal has not been committed. Now this banner flies above Dresden as a continuation of your power. You feel as if the world has returned to its true course, like a river that has finally swept away the dam of injustice. Only a true Aeon is allowed to change the past. This ability is gained through sound judgments and fair trials, but how can one avoid falling into pride upon receiving this divine power? A true Aeon knows no pride. Soon, even the word itself will cease to have meaning for you. It is dangerous to deviate from the path of the Aeon, to succumb to temptation. If you are guided by your heart rather than your knowledge of the law, you'll be unable to change the past no matter how hard you try. You'll be as helpless as an ant trying to move a boulder. For now, however, you can rest from your labors. Justice and order in Dresden has been restored. The sacred banner flies above its fortress. Everything is as it should be. Express regret you were unable to fight Minago. Okay. It didn't give us an option. It didn't look like there would be an option, but that's interesting. Meeting Areelu, meeting Minago, surely it would have been better to fight them in the past and thus save Golarion from so many troubles. But you know that taming the flow of time is as difficult as taming a tumultuous mountain river after heavy rain. Only with strength, patience and wisdom can the Aeon direct the course of time, going against its flow to change the past. Okay, so like it's saying you can maybe do this later. Okay. So where is Staunton? That's the next question. Where is this little dwarf? So reloaded the area. Just checking. Like Staunton's gotta be somewhere, right? You wouldn't give me Staunton back and then not let him be somebody who just happens to be hanging around, would you? You wouldn't do that, game. Because that would just be like... That'd just be teasing. You couldn't possibly have done that. Alright, along here. Nothing here. By the way, you may notice that in Dresden we get a little bit of lag. Now, I've tried something out on a stream a while back. Like just a little different way of recording, or of doing streaming. And it seemed to work and gave me a lot less lag in game. So we might try that out for a video or two coming up soon. And just see if it looks, you know, okay. If it does, it seems like it would probably be a good idea to, like, go with that. And then it might just mean that the videos all look a little bit nicer. So, just a little heads up that we might be trying something new. So if things look a little weird for a couple of episodes, then, you know, things will look a little weird for a couple of episodes. Otherwise, like, you know, if you notice no difference, it's all good. So, he isn't there. I don't think he'd be in the inn, right? That's not really where a warden would be. We should probably check it anyway, but, like, that's not really where a warden would be. He's got to be somewhere, right? Not here. Second floor. Not here, although we should speak to Nenio at some point just so she doesn't feel left out. The fact that she isn't on the main map actually does mean that we're probably going to miss her at one or two occasions during the game, I would assume. So we should make an effort to go in and check on her. Not that she would remember.
Let us be off.
Right. Warden maybe would be over here. Maybe I could see a warden being in the jail. I mean, that's a place you could put a warden, right? Not over here.
Let's
move. I think he's probably in the prison or the barracks. I think these are two very likely places for him. Gorvo, the tavern keeper, Nura, Jana Aldori. Okay, that's fine. Nura, do you know anything new? Okay, interesting. She does not know anything new. Okay, other places he could be. He could be... Is this the same group around Ember? I think it's the same group around Ember. I don't think it's new stuff. Barracks is another place he could be. The other place he could be is the temple. Because he was saying a lot about Torag, so... If that's the thing that he's, like, bring back up again, it could mean that he's, like, he stayed religious. It's not here. Okay. Cool. Head out of this place. Alright.
March on.
Along this way. Nobody here, nobody here, nobody here, nobody here, nobody here. Rushally? Ooh. Interesting. We can ask her about things. I wonder if you can ask everybody. Oh, that would be interesting. So everybody's stories changed ever so slightly. Peasant, peasant, noble, noble, peasant, 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 noble. None of these people. You telling me that they gave me Staunton? They showed me Staunton. But neither him nor his brother are anywhere to be seen? Are you telling me that's what they did here? Seriously? I mean, that's fine, because it's probably, like, really difficult to deal with a time-traveled character who, like, doesn't exist in some timelines and does exist in other ones. But still, I might be looking up location here. Staunton, then it's Aeon Act 3 location. I don't know, let's see what it pops up for. Aren't we supposed to be able to recruit him if we went this path? Oh no, blah de blah de blah de blah, blah de blah de blah de blah. Okay. Okay. You get a chance to redeem, but you cannot recruit him right now. I assume you also cannot speak to him. Okay, it was a bit of misinformation. Okay. I mean, I was just naturally assuming that you could do it, because I know that you can recruit him in the Lich path. So I was curious whether he was around as a companion. Turns out he's not, which is fair enough. It would be a bit difficult to have a companion who, like, only exists in one of the timelines. And has, like, different experiences from everyone else, but that's still interesting. I wonder, if I speak to someone like Camellia... Okay, so she doesn't have anything, but I assume that Greybore and Rue will have new stuff. And just be like, our relationship has to end right now. No. Okay, that's fine. I wonder if we're gonna get punished because we weren't mean to our other companions. I assume that none of these people are gonna have anything to say. Let's go speak to Rue and see what's going on here, because we know that things have changed with her. Actually, let me check down here as well. Lan? Want to talk about our last training session or our relationship? Oh, wow, that's a little bit heavy for what I was looking for. I was only looking for time travel. I don't want to talk about relationships. Right. Was there someone down here? Just abandoned building. Okay. That's fine. Just thought I'd check. Right. Oh, anything with you, Seela? No. Okay, fair enough. Along this way.
Let's move.
Hello. I managed to change Dresden's past, but what about yours? Rushly casts her gaze down. My memories are chaotic. I remember both the things that have never happened and things that could have happened. I remember Dresden falling under the demonic attacks, and I remember Dresden standing strong against them. Only my efforts turned out to be in vain in both cases. Warden Staunton of Dresden did not believe I had come to the fortress gates to turn myself in. He would have killed me on the spot if not for the interference of Desna's priests. That's how I ended up in the dungeons. Huh. Interesting. So, her one's pretty much the same. She ended up in the dungeons. I'm assuming we're going to get a similar one with Greybore. Okay. I'm still very into the time travel, even if we don't get to see Staunton right now. I did see somebody hint like we might see him later, and I was like, time to stop reading. But yeah.
March on.
So, like, even if it doesn't, I'm trying to think, even if it doesn't actually change too much for us right now, the fact that it changed anything is kind of cool, and the potential is great. Hey, Greybore. Managed to change Dresden's past, but how did that affect your own past and our contract? Nothing really changed for me. The encounter with Darazan ended in the exact same way. I attacked him right as the Crusader forces broke the demon hold over Dresden, and he managed to escape. Not the outcome I was hoping for, but there was nothing I could do. Now I'll have to find another way to finish the job. Okay. Interesting. So, same for him, basically. There's one other person I want to check. Just one. One other person. Oh, you know what? There are two things I want to check. One person, still that is true, but I also want to check the books as well after we do that. Because we have histories of the Crusades, so we should be able to look at them and see. That's interesting. Okay, he doesn't have anything... Well, he has new things to tell us, but not about this in particular. I was thinking that because he's kind of like... He's a little mystical, he's very powerful, he might have, you know, views outside the timeline. Turns out, no, it's just my companions. Or I guess a mythic power, so probably, like, up there in terms of most powerful people around. Right. Where are we at? So is this a... No, that's before the Second Crusades. So that's not going to apply. History of the Crusades is really what I'm looking for. Crusade Chronicles? Okay. No. Okay, books don't change. There you go. The worst of the blows suffered by the Crusaders was the loss of Dresden. But Dresden was never lost. Okay, cool. Books don't change. Fair enough. I mean, I thought that they might. There was a chance that they would, but books don't change because, well, I guess their text is just kind of set. Anyway, I think I'm going to end the episode here. I'm sorry it's a little bit shorter. But next time we're going to go speak to the storyteller. We're going to go speak to Lan about our relationship, Chief Sul. And then we're going to figure out what we're doing. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.